Good morning. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah.
Especially New York. Here, good to see you.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. We have a jam-packed program for you today, so I'm just going to jump right in. My name is Barbara Vale, and I'm on the board of directors here. And I want to say also that we have several vacancies on the board, so if that's calling to you, we would love for you to come up and come to any one of us on the board, or anyone you feel like could answer your questions and get you started. And we'd love to welcome new people on board. Let's see. Okay, let's just get right into it. We're celebrating our 100th anniversary of this building. So it's just pretty exciting. And as far as you all, could you turn off your cell phones? Make sure that they're turned off or silent. We'd like to make a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that these lands used to belong to the indigenous Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Ute people. And it's important for us to name that and to be aware of it. Their legacy matters, and it was their sacred ground, which is now our sacred ground, and we can feel that here. That this is really a very sacred place. We also want to point out that we partner with many people, we partner with several organizations here that address indigenous people, we help them with their needs. Two impactful partners that we have are the Spirit of the Sun and Sisters of Color United in Education. And they work through in activism, programming, and education, which really helps these populations. Also to point out that every week we have this altar here, and on it we have the 4 directions and 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And that brings in a little bit of the indigenous element as well. And we would like to move on to our anti-racism statement. We want to acknowledge that we're growing in diversity, ever growing at Althea. I always felt this was a place of openness for people who were seeking spiritual connection with the divine. But we want to be intentional about it because we realize that in the past we've attracted mostly a white demographic and elderly, or I guess elderly demographic, people who are advancing in age, let's say. And so we would like to be intentional about including all people who are seeking for this spiritual connection. And we do have a thriving LGBTQ population, but we also would like to be more intentional about welcoming and including people who have lived experiences, people of color, people of diverse abilities, because we really recognize that institutional racism is real, and implicit and unconscious biases are real. So we want to seek to be as welcoming as we can be, and ever more welcoming to anyone who is searching for a spiritual home such as ours. So now we'd like to welcome any newcomers, any first-timers here. Anyone? Oh, yay. Come over there. One. Sorry, you get it. We're thrilled you come. Anyone else? Don't worry. Yeah. And Judy, be sure that your friend knows that their lunch is free today. Yeah. Okay, and let's just settle in now with a little opening prayer. I invite you to close your eyes if you wish. And move into breath awareness, taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. Draw jump down into your heart center and call in your divine, your sacred presence. And let that presence expand in your heart. Expand and move out into the whole of your body. Till you're just overflowing with this presence of the divine. And now think about compassion and bring it down into your heart and let it fill your heart. Fill it to overflowing until it flows out of your body into everyone else who is here today, whether they're here in presence or they're here online or just here in your thoughts. And send that compassion to them until we make a web of compassion among us all. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. So not only is this the 100th anniversary of our building, but it's the 125th anniversary of Divine Science. This started out as the first Church of Divine Science, which it still is, legally. So 125 years of Divine Science that has been brought together with the statement of being that we have. The statement of being in some form or other has been with us since the beginning of Divine Science. So we're going to say that in a moment, but it's going to be followed by the face of God, and I want to say just a little bit about that. Is that I don't know when it was when the person, her name is Karen Drucker, who wrote The Face of God, but she also had some motions that go with it, and sometimes when we do motions, you know, the face of God, it seems a little childish, but maybe we could reframe that and think about our child within, and we're bringing that forth. And another way of looking at it could be that we are honoring people who are hard of hearing. And so that maybe, although it's not, it might be based on American Sign Language, but it's not true American Sign Language, because I asked a friend of mine who works with the deaf, and she said, well, that doesn't really matter. It's the intention. So if it feels comfortable for you when we get to the face of God to do the hand motions, face of God, and in my heart, you are in my heart, and we are one, we are a family, and you are the face of God, or just however it comes out for you, be my guest and make those motions. But first we'll do the statement of being. Sorry. Oh yes, please. Please stand if you're able. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one knows all, is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God and are ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and
perfect substance.
Okay, now we have our featured musician, and it's someone you know. I love Daryl Johnson. He's gonna sing Finlandia. Daryl is not only an incredible singer, as most of you know, but he also is our building manager. And I was here for a long time last night, and I heard him and Rick practicing, and I tell you, whew, we're in for a treat.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay. So there we go. Yay, Jason, thank you so much. And I'd like to dedicate this song to the people of Ukraine.
and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, oh God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine. May truth and freedom come to every nation. May peace abound where strife has raged so long. That each may seek to love and build together a world united, righting every wrong. A world united in its love of freedom, proclaiming peace together in one song.
Wow. That didn't disappoint me. Oh my God. And just to point out that this day is brought to you but with the work of several of us. We've been working for several months to put this service together. And we wanted to bring in some of the songs that we used to sing years ago, and Finlandia was one of them. So, and the organ. And just Daryl and I and Mark Upshaw, who's our speaker today, we're the ones who are kind of spearheading this, but we've certainly asked for a lot of people's help, and you'll see them later. Mark is our featured speaker. He is a retired architect, but spent over 40 years in architecture here in Denver, which he calls home and has for 48 years. And he is very excited. He got me so excited. I'm just so thrilled. I'm really excited to see these slides that he has and the whole presentation that he's put together. So I'm going to actually sit down here so I can see. So Mark Upshaw.
Barbara, thank you so much. Tell me, Barbara, did you get my notes that were up here on the podium? Doesn't matter, I'm not going to use them anyway. Barbara, can you hear me back there?
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can? Good. Well, it's great to see some faces I haven't seen here before, so it's a special occasion. And I'm so glad that this morning I don't have to compete with, I'm trying to think of that guy's name, Russell Wilson. That guy that makes 47.2 million a year. I don't know to think about it for this morning anyway. So I have to operate the clicker here while I talk, so I just have a few images here for you. Why do we celebrate architecture? Who cares? This building is 100 years old. It is just an old shell, tattered, worn, and dusty. I kind of like worn because it tells a story. Although this structure needs much tender love and care. There's a grand history and story here. Can you feel it? It's in the plaster and the paint. It's in the organ pipes and the piano keys. It's in the upholstery and the light. Here's an interesting quote I just saw in Historic Denver's Fall newsletter. Buildings and places can be keepers of our stories. History is made up of story, isn't it? There's a history here. So today we celebrate, we remember, and we behold the founders. Yet we also are making our own stories, which in turn become the history of this place. Some of us have been attending here for years or decades. Or it's your first time here, or your second, and you're looking for something, some connection, a spoken word, a tone of voice, a feeling, or a quality of life. Let's jump in. From the perspective of the historic preservation community in Denver, this building is significant because of the renowned architect, J.J. Benedict, and its neoclassical style. And from the perspective of religious historians in Denver and the United States, it was significant because of the giant character of Nona Brooks and her sisters, who founded the first church of divine science in Denver. She was widely known and respected worldwide for her work. It was related to the New Thought movement, yet it has its own distinct character. It had Nona's signature and her wisdom. This building was placed on the Colorado State Register of Historic Places by Historic Denver in 1995. And I'll just click here a few. That's the plaque that was installed. You've all seen this picture of Nona. I must give you the context that gave rise to this building. In doing so, I introduced to you the Brooks sisters and the architect. The three Brooks sisters, Nona, Fanny, and Althea, worked with commitment and passion for the spiritual practice that they learned in Pueblo, Colorado. It was their own making. It is remarkable that they worked together with a common purpose and with much organizational skill and success. They did all this before women had the right to vote. That right came in 1920. They grew up naturally. Fanny was married and lived in Denver, beckoned her sisters to come to the city. They did, and at first they met in their homes with friends and curious followers. The followers became advocates and ardent supporters. It was a robust, inspired, and growing spiritual community. Many of them were affluent and part of Denver society. Here's the thing that set them apart, as I understand it, and led to such a large following. They were healers. They were successful healers. In the interest of time, I will tell you only one story. In Pueblo, Nona was very sick with a chronic throat disease she had for years. She was weak, weighed less than 90 pounds. She could eat only soft foods. At her sister's, Althea's urging, she went to a meeting about New Thought and healing. In the meeting room with others, she saw this omnipresent light. It was natural. She thought everyone saw it, but it was only her. She felt different and better immediately. That evening, to the surprise of her family, she ate normal food. Althea was also sick and was healed in a similar way. They discovered, while in Pueblo, that if they would put their minds to it, they could heal their mother, who was quite old. There was excitement and energy about these discoveries. They wanted to share it, and they did, in both Pueblo and much later, not much later, but in Denver, for many years. To summarize, Nona was an ordained minister. She was the first woman minister in Denver, founder of the College of Divine Science here in this church, an educator and spiritual director of this church. She gave a sermon every Sunday. She was a mystic, a healer, and an organizer. She was kind, approachable, and sought compromise. She was also a civic leader. She was appointed to sit on the state prison board for some years. She was available and accessible to her congregation and to the broader community. She had a sense of humor and used it often and well. Wow, is there anything more we can say about Nona? Let me relate to you this next paragraph briefly. And there's more. She was a scholar. She studied philosophy, especially Greek philosophy, the Bible, and other subjects all her life. She wrote many books. She was a real healer, a real worker, with emphasis on work. I would say she put in a little more than 40 hours a week. She had dedicated and capable assistants, and she acknowledged them often. She and her sisters were like Jesus of Nazareth working in Denver. Here's a quote from one of her essays. "The world needs us. Let's give it our best." One more telling quote from Nona. "It's not a religion we are making, it's a life." Wow. I would say they did that. She was a rock star of her day. After they outgrew the first church located at 17th and Clarkland Street, they were seeking a new property and a building. And mind you, the property for their first building was donated by the wealthy Moffat family. So now let me introduce to you Jules Jacques Benoit Benedict, the architect. He attended MIT, where he studied structural engineering. He then went to Paris and studied art and architecture at the renowned School of the Arts. He arrived in Denver in 1909 after working in Chicago and New York. He was brilliant, talented, and masterful at his work. He was highly prolific, designing many notable buildings during his career. However, he had not designed a church when he was approached by the Divine Science Building Committee. I'm going to advance this. It's a little hard to talk and advance all this at the same time. That is Fanny, her older sister. This is Althea, who died in 1906, way before this building was built. An older sister, obviously. I love this picture of Nona. It makes her seem so accessible and available, and she certainly was that. Okay, here's our fellow, J.J. Benedict, the architect. He was already well known in Denver. He was about 40 years old when he was offered the commission for this building. He was known for his neoclassical Renaissance architecture, yet he was agile and adaptable. I don't think it was possible to categorize him when I look at all of his work. He married well to Denver and bought a farm in Littleton. He was temperamental and moody, demanding, and more. I'll tell you a quick story about our JJ. It was just related to me by an architect friend, who's harassing me and never questioned it. He would carry a cane on construction site with him, and if he didn't like what the worker was doing, we'd give him a whack. Can that be? Couldn't get away with that today, right? We'd be sued. I'm going to show you 3 of his buildings very briefly. They were designed and completed before this building was built. Oh. So this is the Washington Park Boathouse. It anchors the south side of Smith Lake in our most popular part of the city. And I would say J.J. knew what he was doing. Look at the drama he created with those lights on the eaves. This building was finished in 1913. It's still in very productive and robust use today. This is the Chief OSHA Lodge, and in Genesee Park. It's a Denver Mountain Park. The building's owned by the City of Denver Parks and Recreation, and it's a It's his own unique style of rustic Parks Mountain architecture. This is why I say you can't categorize this fellow. So talented. This is the City of Littleton Town Hall. It was in use for many years. I love this building. It's classic Benedict. It's a wonderful use of detail. It is, in my opinion, eclectic. He marked his fees down to do this project. He was a good marketer. He knew what he was doing. He was very comfortable navigating Denver society. And he gave the ironwood, which is these lanterns, to the project. It's a great way to develop a new business. So, let me continue. While we look at this wonderful drawing. Undoubtedly, he jumped at the opportunity to design this building, although it was rooted in Christianity. It was not going to be like any other church. Instructions to him from the building committee were many and well organized, I'm sure. One statement that came out in the newspapers of the day was, "We are more about a philosophy than a ritual." No steeples, towers, crosses, no Gothic revival style. They needed a church that would seat as many parishioners as possible. They needed several classrooms for the college and Sunday school, and it needed to fit on a relatively small site, and to be built with $90,000. $90,000 in 1922 computes to about $2 million a day, and I can tell you there's no way this church could be built for $2 million, maybe $20 million. And some of the materials like the terracotta, which you'll see the detail on, are simply not made today. So good architecture demands a collaborative relationship between the owner and architect, and I am sure they develop mutual and working respect for each other. So looking at his design here, this is the first. How am I doing here? Am I keeping your attention? You want me to go a little faster? You doing good? Perfect. Okay, thank you. This is the first drawing that I've seen. It's a little blurry in this building, but this is the 14th Avenue facade. So he chose, I'm sure with the approval of the building committee, the neoclassical style of architecture, which is Greek and Roman. And there's one thing I'm going to point to here when we go back. It seems important when we talk about symbol on this building. So right here, look at all this building. There's something here that stands out a little bit more. It's indication of a place for some ornament or symbol that might be important to the church. And he was obviously marking himself and trying to satisfy the building committee. So anyway, we have this facade, this elevation, 14th Avenue. It's beautifully composed, and I'm just going to go on. So this photo was taken right near when the church was completed. Interesting, no street trees yet. Probably no street trees because of the vacant lot, and there's no one to take care of them. So here, he uses this style that roots the building in Western civilization. It is a powerful style. It is well accepted for City Beautiful. The City Beautiful movement was sweeping this country at the turn of the century of 1900. So he chooses to engage both William Street and 14th Avenue, and then he anchors it with this amazing round entry, which was one of his signature styles that he brought to Denver from Chicago. And no one was using this at this time. So interesting, 14th Avenue is hardly a mile from City Center. It's an important street. And so is Williams. It's connected to Cheeseman Park. And if you get into the park, right into the Cheeseman Pavilion, our wonderful historic Cheeseman Pavilion. It's also one block from Colfax. And Colfax had streetcars running down the middle of it until 1953. So this building was really on the map and a very important intersection and available for those that wanted to take public transit. And it's here. So what he does with this framework around these simple windows is he brings in these columns and they stand out from the actual building, and you can see the light here between the column and the framework for the windows. And what I think is amazing, he takes a building that is not very big, it's 35 feet tall, it's 100 feet long on this elevation, on this facade, 14th Street, 75 feet on the other, and he makes it look, it's like it's monumental, and it's not sitting up on a big high, high perch. You don't have to walk up a dozen steps to enter the building. So I just think he's done a wonderful job here. Here you see this frieze here where he has lots of symbols that you don't notice. We'll look at those in a minute. Anyway, it has strength and presence and dignity, and he certainly accomplished that with a very small building. Here's our entry. This was taken during our block party. I just like to show these pictures. Hardly need to show them, but it's a beautiful way of entering this building. And what architects do and think about is the sequence of entry from the public right-of-way and how you approach a building. He set the building back on the lot about 25 feet from each street. So there was a sense of space between the sidewalk and the building. It's another great picture that I love. It's taken on Easter. So the portico, as you enter this building, the sequence, I get the feeling that it embraces me as I walk in. It's this wonderful feeling, and it's a way that we enter, and then we enter into the vestibule. So I'm sure you all can understand this drawing. This is the floor plan. This is the construction document they used to build the building, one of about 20 sheets. But let me just quickly walk you through, because there's some important things that I've noticed. This is the building footprint here. These are the exterior walls right here. This is our library. This is the exterior, this is the alley right here. Then we come over here. This is the facade that faces 14th Street. And then we have our wonderful portico, the vestibule, and then the sanctuary. So, very interesting. He creates this axis diagonal, not north and south like a traditional Christian church. And this room here that we're standing in is quite large. It's 55 feet by 55 feet. But there's something that I think is interesting about this room. As you see here, the vestibule, he has this terminus of the square here and here, and they are equal in size. So they really create a hexagon. And the way I experience this space, and I think it's better for me, if I step down in the sanctuary here, a little closer to the middle of the space and to you. So I experience this room more as a circular experience. And it's the way you experience the energy, the way I do. I'm sharing it with you. And then we have the skylight, which is amazing, a very large skylight. And the sun moves in an arc, and that also, depending on the time of day when you're here, has that kind of movement. And I find it wonderful that it has this giant square, 55 square feet. At that time, it sat down here on this floor about 310 people. It sits about 250 now, because the stage is large. You can't read all of this to see which one of these am I going to show you. So, talking about economy, there's several things I'm going to talk to you about. The economy is one of the light, simple, the building's presence, we already talked about that on the street. So these rooms here, which are the alcove spaces, they're shown as classrooms. And there's 4 of them here. This is a gender study area, and then there's another area here with a little stage. This is in the library, okay? And back here is the kitchen. It's like they bumped out the building in anticipating an addition for this building, which eventually happened. But what is interesting, they're multi-purpose. There's petitions shown here in 1922. They're not these petitions, I'm sure. And then there's petitions across here. So during the week, I assume, when they were teaching the college classes, they had these 4 classrooms and other rooms here, and of course there were rooms upstairs. So they got a lot of efficiency out of a small building footprint that's basically 100 by 75 feet. And I'm assuming that on Sunday they would open all these partitions, and then these became overflow seating. The other thing I'm going to show you here is this is not a circle. You notice it's more of an ellipse. And what I'm thinking, I don't know this, I didn't see the notes, I doubt if there are any notes, said when he was trying to get this space, this wonderful portico, create a sequence of entry, then take you into a vestibule with these wide double doors, then have plenty of seating, he needed to scrunch things up a bit. So rather than a circle, it becomes an ellipse. And it's a beautiful ellipse. This picture you probably would never see. It's taken with a wide-angle lens. And this is one of the things I think we're conscious of it, but it's almost unconscious. That we're being sheltered in this, embraced in this portico. You can tell I love the space, right? Then on the roof, I talked to you about the skylights. Why would I show you a photograph of the roof? It's a modified rubber roof. It's in good shape. It's fairly big. But up here is the skylight. And then these are the trusses, these pitched trusses that extend above the roof. I think it's pretty neat how they did that. And then there's a room in here, and the skylight up here that's not real big. And it faces to the eastern side. And you go inside, you see this. You see this room? It's stucco, it's painted all white, so this light bounces all over the place. And this glass reads as obscure glass, but if it wasn't, it's been etched by 100 years, and it functions as obscure glass. And then you have these paintings here that are right here, right there. It's sort of like windows laying horizontally that further diffuse the light in this room. And then this here is a winch that it lowers the chandelier so our very able vocalist and building manager, Daryl, can lower it and service it. It's amazing to get here and see this room. There's a lot to it. So we talked about the light, the way the light was developed in here. This is up in the balcony, and I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but if you look, this ceiling is curved. It's curved here, there's the top of the windows, it's curved, and then comes over here, it curves down to that division there. And what that does, if you're Peyton Manning and you're 6'8" or whatever, you can see the top of the windows. But me, I can't even see the top of the windows. And it feels like the light is coming, you don't know where the source of the light. It feels as if the balcony seat is literally floating on this, perhaps, a celestial light. It's beautifully done, and very, very thoughtful, and very intuitive. I have to show you these the seats. I love these old wooden seats that came here in 1920. This little wire thing here is a place where you store your hat. I had no idea. I've never seen that before. I have to tell you, I prefer the wooden seats. To me, they're more comfortable. They allow you to sit up. But we have these wonderful quality seats as well. Here's our stairwell. It's just up there for our stair that runs down there. It's so well lit, but you can see we need to do some work on our ceiling. We've got some plaster that's badly chipped and cracked and so on. But I love this light. It's so well done. It's so diffuse. So we're talking about symbol. You may have seen this symbol. It's a classic in Christian architecture, but also I think for many Muslim traditions, it's the lamb. If you study symbols, it has to do with innocence, the seeker, maybe selfless love, and so on. It's the most visible symbol in the church. This is another symbol, and you see, if you care to know this, this is Greek. This is the Roman Corinthian call. They call this called composite architectural style. But anyway, this symbol is pretty clear. It's been written about. It's the phoenix, the bird rising from the ashes. It's the classic cycle of death and rebirth, and it is probably ubiquitous among most Muslim traditions. So here's the little thing I pointed to you on that first drawing, the blueprint, where there was a place for the symbol. And I didn't know this until this summer, and I was looking through, I was taking some photos of the church that you've seen this summer. We had our block party, and I was looking, and I was enlarging the image, and I saw this thing up here. What in the world is that? Right smack dab in the middle of the center arch for the portico. And so this has been called, related to Pisces. Pisces is the two fish equal size that are in opposite directions that would indicate a balance, or looking inward or looking outward. But I think there's something more going on here because the fish are not equal size. I would suggest that this is maybe the mother fish, the wise elder, who navigates the waters. Metaphorically, you can call it the spiritual world or the unconscious, and brings those riches up to light as a fish that reaches the water. That would be a metaphor, I suppose, for most wisdom traditions, right? And then there's the younger fish here that's being embraced by the older fish, coming to seek wisdom, coming to learn, will eventually become the elder fish. So, in closing, I have no idea how long I've been talking, but in closing, I'm showing you a couple of photos in the evening, and just how beautiful the light is here. What Nona did after this building was built is she started vesper service every Sunday at 5 o'clock. That's after she did this sermon, after she looked in on Sunday school. I'm sure she worked 7 days a week, no question about it. She was not married. She gave her whole life to this practice. The light is beautiful here. It's a special time, and she had these services here. And it is more like a sitting meditation. And people would ask her, she had a strong connection to the divine, to God. They'd say, how does God communicate to you? And she would simply say, I listen. It's more of listening, which is a meditation. This is our entry vestibule, the light coming in. Again, it's kind of fuzzy, but you can see the light reflected on the door and the image of the same image here. And I'm going to end with that image of Nona, my favorite picture that I've seen of her. And I would so much would have loved to sit here with her for a vesper meditation. What a joy. Anyway, I'm going to end with that and give this back to Barbara. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Next, we have Daryl running from the back with another selection, which you'll recognize right away.
When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic way. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found. Leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind. You'll find me somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
Next, we have a reading. It's going to be done by Kathy Humphreys, who is standing in the back. She will read it from there. She is the one, by the way, who has the Thursday Community Connections online, and it's a fabulous class, just saying.
Hi. I am reading it's a combination of excerpts from 3 poems of John O'Donohue, who I love. Okay. Somewhere out at the edges, the night is turning and the waves of darkness begin to brighten the shores of dawn. The heavy dark falls back to earth, and the free air goes wild with light. The heart fills with fresh, bright breath, and thoughts stir to give birth to color. I arise today in the name of silence, womb of the word, in the name of stillness, home of belonging, in the name of the solitude of the soul and of the earth. I arise today, blessed by all things, wings of breath, delight of eyes, wonder of whisper, intimacy of touch, eternity of soul, urgency of thought, miracle of health. embrace of God. May I live this day compassionate of heart, clear in word, gracious in awareness, courageous in thought, generous in love. We seldom notice how each day is a holy place, where the Eucharist of the ordinary happens, transforming our broken fragments into an eternal continuity that keeps us. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but to do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. Wherever one person takes another into the core of their heart, they have the power to bless. It is such a privilege to have people who continue each day to bless us with their love and prayer. These inner friends of the heart confer on us inestimable gifts. May we all receive blessing upon blessing, and may we realize our power to bless, heal, and renew one another. May you awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. May your outer dignity mirror an inner dignity of soul. May you take time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention. May you be consoled in the secret symmetry of your soul. May you experience each day as a sacred gift woven around the heart of wonder.
Now it's time for our offering, for you to shower us with your gifts. I invite the ushers forward, yes. There are many ways that you can give. You can donate online, and you can set up recurring weekly or monthly donations. You can donate on the Althea website. You can use the QR code that's in your program, or you can use the dip jar that's at the back, and in $10 increments each time you dip your card, it advances it, which would be wonderful. If you wanted to do it 10 times, then you would reach $100, which is what we're trying to get to with our fundraiser, which is covering the things that we need that Mark pointed out, just a couple of them, the inside of our building. And you can see over here, we have a banner now that shows there's a QR code right there, so pointing out the QR code also. Yay, you can use that. If you want to make it different from your regular donation, or however you want to give it to us, we're happy to accept. You can see that we have actually reached 45 donations for this fundraiser, for a total so far of $7,339. Yes, yay. And we have a little ways to go to reach where our goal is $100,000. And so, give. Thank you very much. And this is great. So join me as we affirm together, the universe provides all that I need and all that I give. With great joy I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world I am helping manifest. And so it is. And now it's time for prayers for the people. So this is an opportunity for you to share with all of us here with a mic that will be passed around. Any joys or concerns, anything that you want to pray for. And we have our first person right there.
My friend Lee passed last night, and I appreciate all good energy going towards him. Thank you.
Anyone else? Right there? Yes? Great.
Hi, I just want to say I have asked for prayer for peace. I forgot where I'm here. Wow. Got it. One, yeah, this is the choir. I don't think it's the longest one, exactly. I can do this has been peace there.
Thank you. Anyone else? Right here. Mike, go ahead.
I have three friends, female friends who've had surgeries. One was over here at Rose 2 weeks ago. She needs to continue to heal from the surgery that was under her nose. I have a friend in California and one here, Dee Mongaro in California, in Torrance, who had a second operation on her eye. This happened Thursday, and also Friday, correction. And the other lady was a lady here in Colorado. I think she's in Boulder. She had an operation on her rectum, basically, on about 6 in the morning on Friday. And I'd like healing for all three people. Thank you.
What are their names?
What are their names?
Dee Mongaro is in Torrance, California. Jane Henderson is here in Boulder. And Amy Lou is in Aurora.
Thank you. Jazz?
Well, I think it would be fitting to evoke the spirits of the people who have come through those doors over the last 100 years and ask them to guide Althea into the next 100 years. So I'm sure this sanctuary is filled with those spirits right now, so help us.
Anyone else? Chris?
Jazz kind of stole my nose and asked for the next 100 years as well. But I'll just ditto on that. And I also had this week a person very close to me pass. He was my doctor growing up, and my best friend's dad. He passed last month, so I just asked for prayers with his family as they go through this time.
What's his name?
His name is Eugene, Ralph Eugene.
Anyone else? Oh, here's the.
This actually was brought up at our prayer partners meeting, and that is prayers for the election that's coming up, and for our nation, and just to find some sense of healing and peace and justice.
I would like us to pray for Ukraine and for the people as they go forward with their desires for peace. And I know that this is a very difficult time, and I can't imagine what it would be like to be living in those circumstances. But I pray for them. Thank you.
Right there. Oh.
So we're going into a war situation. I would pray for the success of the people who are in Ukraine, especially the women who are trying to have a better life because they have to cover all the time, and that's what causes them to be killed.
I'd like to raise a prayer for the Reverend Dr. Jim Stewart, longtime Divine Science Minister and current President of the International Lutheran Alliance on his healing journey.
Anyone else? Well, thank you very much. You also may submit prayers online, especially if you don't feel comfortable sharing them in a big group. So that's another way that we can do that. And then just to remind you that after the service, we have prayer partners, and Rick Kitzman is our prayer partner, and he will be in the historic library area and ready to work with you individually with affirmative prayer, if you'd like. Okay, so we, let me just check that I'm doing this. Okay. We are having a deep dive after this, after lunch, actually, which is going to be awesome as usual. And it'll be in the historic library. We're going to have Carrie Hoffner, who's going to talk a little bit about numerology and the connection with the date today, our Centennial. And also, we've set out, Mark and Daryl and I are going to show some things. It's going to be kind of like a show and tell of items that we have, artifacts that we have here that have historic significance, including some more of the blueprints and some of the books that belong to Nona Brooks and pictures. So we're excited to have you come to that culture. So, and now I'd like to bring Ginny up, and she's going to give us more announcements.
Good morning. And first, a big round of applause for Barbara, our MC, and everyone who's been working for months literally to make this happen. Thanks so much. So I'm Ginny Castleberry. I'm part of the team that brings you Sunday services. Wonderful speakers like Claudia, who was with us last Sunday and had an amazing class that I attended yesterday. And she continues to give back to us because today, if you want to stick around after and sign up, she will do a reading. And she uses many different cards, tarot, angel cards, and channeling, all sorts of ways to let you know. And it's going to be donated. So what you pay, your $27, will actually go toward our fund and help get that thermometer rising. I did one with her yesterday, and it was phenomenal. It was amazing. So thank you, Claudia. So I wanted to get that plug in there today. So we'll have a way for you to sign up if you'd like to do that. Very quickly, my experience, I have many experiences with this building, but one that stands out for me is we used to do spring cleaning. And this is, a lot of organizations do this, where they ask members to volunteer their time and come in on a Saturday or a Sunday and help clean. And my daughter, who was probably around, I'm going to say 7 or 8 at the time, we were upstairs in the balcony, And we cleaned all, well, not all, because she did kind of give up, because you know 8-year-olds when you're trying to get them to clean. We got almost all of those seats up there. We had music playing. It was a beautiful, sunny experience up there, and you could just feel it. You could feel the playfulness of some of the energy that is still up there. And those cool, tiny little seats that you think about, the little bodies that sat up there starting 100 years ago, and it was magical. And we skipped spring cleaning this spring, but Daryl, we're going to do it again, right? Spring 2023, it's fun. We have food and fellowship. Anyway, that's kind of fun for spring cleaning, just a little bit early. So announcements, let me tell you what's coming up. So, like we said, speakers. We have amazing speakers. Who remembers Greg Roche, who talked about his son and daughter and just had a deep experience that he shared with us about how he said, I thought I was one of those people that didn't need therapy, and let me tell you about what I've gone through in the last year. And he bared his soul with us, Greg Roche. Well, he's coming back, and he's going to talk to us next week about connecting, even if we're introverts, even if we're isolated. What does that mean to connect? So he'll be here next week. We also have coming up in coming weeks, Kiana Johnson. If you remember Kiana, who talks to us about social justice, anti-racism, anti-oppression. She's going to be with us in a couple of weeks. And then, who knows, Holly Duckworth from Mile High. She is yes, I see lots of hands go up. She's going to talk to us about kind of getting ready for what she calls November instead of November, as a way to start talking about change. Chris Parente is going to get up here soon. We're working on dates. We love Chris. So very cool speakers coming. We also want to talk about Matthew Quigley, who is chef, yoga instructor, musician, does a 90-minute journey of restorative yoga every Sunday, including this Sunday at 2 o'clock. So join us for that. Kathy Humphreys, who did our beautiful reading today, every Thursday for months and months and months now on Zoom, does a community discussion that's very popular. So if you want to know more about that, you can ask her personally, but you can also join her on Zoom every Thursday at 11. We have launched our 100-year celebration, so I bring it up again. Last week, we met way within the 72 hours that match that we had from Diane. So yay, us! So we have another person who, hey, today's a good day to come forward and say that you will match $1,000 if we get 10 people to write a check for $100. They'll match it with 1,000. So we need our next one. We've had 2 already. We've hit the goal both times. So let me know if you want to jump in and do that. Let's see what else we have going on. Well, for this 100-year celebration on Tuesday, we're going to have the 100-year happy hour. So show up at 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock. And somehow Rick Stanton has made us into a chili fest. Where is Rick Stanton? Where are you? Organist and pianist extraordinaire decided we need chili, y'all. So we're going to have chili also at this. Mocktails, cocktails, it's going to be fun. Just come join us. Jazz Smith, wave your hand. Where'd you go, Jazz? You're up there. You're up there. Up in the balcony. Jazz has a class that he's offering for free October 22nd from 2 to 5 p.m. Ideals of Love is what it's called. Relationships that lack the framework of integration that unites us in our highest potential for love. So he's going to talk about that paradigm and what that means. We need lunch volunteers before and after lunch. We have a beautiful, amazing lunch every Sunday, but it takes a little bit of work to make that happen. So if you ever just want to jump in and volunteer, you're not signed up forever and ever. You're just signed up when you want to help us out. So Sarma, raise your hand there in the back. Sarma is the queen of all volunteers, and she would love your help. And if there are other ways that you feel you could give back with your time, she is the person to talk to. So talk to her about that. Please apply online. We have a form if you would like to be a board member. We've got a couple of spots open. That's a wonderful way to give back. We always have fun. We have retreats. It's part of what makes this place run, and you get to help be a part of that. I think I have covered everything. Anything? Anybody? Any waving hands? All right. one last round of applause for our amazing Mark Upshaw. And the work he put into the story of this place. Thank you so much, Mark. And with that, I will turn it back over to our illustrious MC Barbara.
Okay, some of you know that we have the community song after the closing prayer. And sometimes, like today, we're going to switch that. And we're going to have the community song now. Just a little note, when I was here last night, we were discussing the community song. And I remember years ago, we used to sing more than one, definitely, and maybe more than two songs. And so it was a chance for the congregation to sing out, you know. And we only now have the one community song at the moment. And Daryl pointed out that if we only sing like one verse or two verses of a song, that we don't get a chance to really sing out. So we're going to sing out all four verses. Is it 4 or 5? Whatever. Anyway, we're going to follow Daryl's lead. And on the screen, Ode to Joy, or Joyful, Joyful in the Majority. And it's also on the maybe you maybe got it when you came in.
Thank you. Yes? 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 Test, thank you. Actually, we just have the title up on the screen because we gave you the music and the words since there were so many verses. I just thought it might be easier for you to have the music and read it. So I'm going to have some right back here if you didn't pick one up. Chris is going around the back to get one. All right, we got that. Terrific. So this is Beethoven's Ode to Joy, but it was written as a church hymn, the Joyful, Joyful, we adore thee. So please rise as you're able and join me in our community song. Mortal joy.
remain standing and repeat after me. Something wonderful is in this room right now.
Something wonderful is in this room right now.
100 years of love.
100 years of love.
100 years of healing.
100 years of healing.
100 years of joy.
100 years of joy.
It supports me.
It supports
It
me.
surrounds me.
It surrounds me.
It loves me.
It loves me.
And it is what and who I am.
It is what and who I am.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Hi, Mark. You do? So what? You would have bought your ticket online. You're on my list, so you must have paid. Well, we won't be having tickets until the end of November. Because it's for December. Well, not yet. I get them all at once we close out. And this is how many tickets, and we pay for them. I go down and get the tickets.